Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Nooner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome to The Next Level, conversations that propel business. I'm your host, Bob Gibbons.
And this week, I'm your better host, Stephen Nooner.
Just this week.
Yeah.
Oh, finally, it's nice to have a change.
Yeah, well, you know, I had a confidence boost on my way in.
Oh, good.
I'm excited to introduce our next leveler for today. That's what our guests are called. James Hammel is the owner of JRHammel Construction and Vesta IQ. JRHammel services include design and build, high-end remodeling, and new construction. And Vesta IQ provides preventative home care, helping elegant homes stay that way. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. To learn more about both companies, you can visit JRHammel.com. Bob's favorite part is that I'm going to spell this JRHammel.com, and Vesta, VESTA, the letters I and Q.com. Welcome, James.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Glad you're here with us today. Well, we always like to start off with what we call wisdom of others. And so today, our wisdom is coming from somebody named Grooves. Have you ever known anybody named Grooves, James?
I have not.
All right, so you're in for a treat.
All right.
Apparently, Stephen went to family camp last week, and he met somebody named Grooves. And Grooves said, I'm holding on to my opportunities loosely. Now, why did that strike a chord with you, Stephen?
Well, I mean, she probably doesn't even know it struck a chord with me, but so we went to Camp Pine Cove, and it's a Christian faith-based family camp. And these amazing college kids, they get paid, but not very much, and they basically sow into your family, spend time with your family. And so she had just graduated from A&M, and this was her last summer, and she's about to take on a job, and I just asked her to make a conversation with her. So, so what are you going to do? Normal question to ask someone graduating. And she said just that. I'm holding on to my opportunities loosely. And it took a little bit to process, but I was like, wow, I wonder how often I hang on to my opportunities too tightly. I get too committed to maybe an outcome or something like that. And for me, I have a spiritual perspective on this, of course, in this whole conversation with her. I wonder if sometimes I miss part of some of the great stuff because I hold on too much to good stuff that's under my design.
So that excludes some of the other stuff that might have come along had you not been so holding on rigidly.
Right.
Now, the thing I think was funny about this is that James gave us a quote from Charles Darwin. Darwin got beat out by Grooves.
Right. Darwin's quote's pretty solid here, though.
All right, so we got to give that real fast. We're not going to talk about it, but it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change, which I like that one a lot, but that's for another day.
Yeah, Bob just got excited because he's like, what is Grooves? Who is Grooves?
No, I love that. I mean, I have exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I really do.
So thank you, Grooves. Well, we like to start off usually with something, kind of interesting about someone else. That maybe not everybody knows, but also just gratitude is a great place to start. So what are you thankful for right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something that I honestly try to think about every morning, and I used to put it in my phone and, say gratitude, and that would just, hey, have that discussion with my kids. It's impossible to feel bad and sad when you're feeling gratitude. Yeah. And then when you're thanking people, it's literally impossible. You can't be sad and be thankful at the same time. And if you can change your state every single morning by thinking about things that you're thankful for, you make decisions the rest of the day in a much better state, and you make much better decisions because of that one thing. You just thinking about what you're thankful for.
Very cool.
And so anyway, so, what am I thankful for? I mean, gee whiz, living in a tremendous country, and in my opinion, the best country by far. I grew up in a great home and a great, with great parents. Didn't know much about business, but they taught me so many other things that apply to today's world for me. And God just happened to give me the spirit and the body that allowed me to survive and thrive, and not everybody has that. And I consider myself in the 1%, truly, because I was given those items.
Very nice.
You mentioned your parents. I mean, if there was one thing that just really, really resonated with you, that your parents taught you, that you want to pass on to your kids, what would it be?
I would say, my mother's still with us today, and when you talk about a rock, that is somebody that I call. She doesn't know it, but I call her all the time, and I'm just wanting to hear that voice of, she doesn't tell me what I'm doing right or wrong. It's just something that you can anchor to, that gives me the strength and to make decisions, and she doesn't even try to help me make those decisions. It's just something there. But my father, it is about working hard. It is about being creative, being thankful for what you have. He wasn't given much to start his life, and so he passed away really early. So he's taught me some lessons about what I shouldn't do. And there's a reason he's not here today. Yeah, because he made some poor decisions, and so in a way he's still teaching me, and that's why I'm much healthier than my father.
Okay, so you talked about gratitude. One of the things that I've never been grateful for are the guys that have come into my house and done remodels. They've never been on my list of people I've been grateful for because it's never turned out great. So that's your business. So you were doing this a little differently than most people. So let's start off with, what is it that you're doing that's so different than everybody else?
Well, I'm obviously appreciate you asking. The simple fact is that people and contractors are not crooks. Clients are not idiots. Clients are not out to cheat contractors, and contractors I don't think are out to cheat clients. But the fact is that contractors and clients, the relationship is set up to fail typically from the very beginning. You're never on with that meeting of the minds. Homeowners want it to start quickly. They want it to be cheap. Contractors therefore try to do everything they can to make that homeowner happy right out of the gate, and they get into a contract that is completely set up to fail. And that's why 93% of homeowner or projects go over budget and past schedule. 30%, matter of fact, 30% over budget, 30% past the schedule, and 80% of homeowners don't recommend their contractors when they're done. It's simple. It's just set up to fail if you're going to do it the way it's always been done, especially in residential remodeling.
What's the breakdown? I guess
the breakdown is that the contractors don't slow the process down. They don't have the guts to say,
pleasers.
Listen, they're pleasers. They're doing what they really think. But if they, from a business standpoint, it makes no sense to go into a contract where you don't have full drawings, you don't have a full meeting of the minds, you don't have an estimate that's fully baked. You've just forwarded the process, up front, the pre-construction, to satisfy, to get that job and that project, and it's literally almost impossible to succeed, and that's what happens.
So I noticed that you guys are in the top 10. You've won all these awards, and also noticed that you guys have a service guarantee. You guarantee their happiness.
Yeah.
Tell me, your process has to be really good.
Sounds risky.
Yeah, because, I just know that from our experience having gone through it in the past, it's like, it's so, I would almost believe that more if it was a commercial build, but it's like a personal, people get so emotional, myself included in the it's like so emotional about our homes.
Yeah. That's a great point, but you said commercial build. So right out of my, first off, I grew up a coach's son, so I mentioned before the show, very, very disciplined underneath my father. Great basketball coach, but it was all about discipline. Then I moved into the Air Force Academy and went to, there and played ball there, but basically I wanted to be a fighter pilot, but it was very, very disciplined. Then right out of college, I went to commercial construction.
Okay.
Listen, the reason they're commercial construction is they've learned over the years how to be very, very disciplined. Okay. And then from there, I transferred into a track home builder within Syntex Homes, and it was very, very disciplined.
Sure.
And
It's a
so
scale.
there's not rocket
Seems to
science.
be a theme here.
There's a theme here, right? There's a reason they are.
I'm
You
worried.
said, but so if you're not very, very disciplined in the very beginning, you just have no chance to succeed. And so we slow the process down. We make sure that we do not go into contract until we have very specific items in a very specific process. Listen, we are not the right builder for a lot of people.
Okay.
But if you want an end result that is exactly what you expected, then we're a good answer.
So then you must start off with the setting out the parameters, the plans, design, work with architects. Scope is really the main thing.
I could. I'll just say this: the process involves about 50 different checklists. And I mean, checklists don't forget, they don't lie, they don't have a bad day. There's a real reason pilots who know exactly how to build and fly those planes, they still use checklists. Well, we as an industry need checklists. And so everything we do from day one is our checklist. Now it's all behind the scenes, and I'm not, we won't share that with everybody unless you're a client. But listen, you're going to do this, 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 and this, and we may get out of order a little bit, but we are not going to step 2 until step 1's checklist is done.
So I'm curious about that because we are, as Bob, and I've shared this before on air, we're super structured in our process as well. We've even trademarked it. We have tons of checklists. In our case, we built it into a technology platform to measure it and everything. But one of the things that new hires have a challenge with is how structured we are. How do we've wanted to deal with that? How do you guys handle that? You have
there's you have to train. We train every single week internally. We are constantly improving the process. It's a set time, set date, Tuesday from 10 to 12. Don't even try to get a hold of any of us because the phones are off. We're internally working on the next step. How are we going to get to the next level? And we're creating checklists, and we're perfecting those checklists. You've got to train, and you've got to have just a laser focus. That's your goal. That's what we're doing today. Don't be late for that meeting. We'll walk out of this room when we're done.
So top down, you're buying in, you're out, basically.
That's
How do you get subs that comply with that?
Well, they're trade partners, first off, and they're no subs to us. They're equals, and so well, first off, we show them. Listen, if you come to work with us, you're going to be provided great drawings. You're going to have all the selections in front of you. We're going to ask you to be competitive, but we're going to be loyal to you. We're not going to be loyal to a fault. And as long as you give us good product for a good price, you give us good value, you're on our good list. But if you don't want to comply and you don't want to work with us, I'm sorry, we will move on.
The naughty nice list.
And we have an 80-20 rule. I mean, somebody will get 80% of our work, 20% somebody else, they're ready to go. They're up to bat as soon as the 80% drops off.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to go to a break. But before we do, your wheel of life is flat. What do you do to inflate it, and what triggers the change after you've been running flat a while? Stick around.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with Riata Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: knowledge is power. We all negotiate from a position of power and strength, or at least we want to. In any negotiation, the party with the most knowledge probably has the upper hand, and landlords count on this being the case whenever you're negotiating a lease, because most landlords are professional real estate investors and they hire professional leasing agents and property managers. Landlords are in the market every day negotiating leases, while tenants probably only negotiate 1, maybe 2 leases every few years. So tenants feel outgunned. Don't let landlords have all the power. As a former landlord for 20 years, I understand how landlords think and what motivates them. So let me put that knowledge and experience to work on your side of the negotiation. To learn more, contact me at texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Have you started making plans to take your business to the next level in 2016? Hi, I'm Stephen Nooner, founder and CEO of Alkali. We have a trademark process called the Empowered Advantage that enables CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs to more effectively buy and manage their insurance. Before sitting down to make your plans for the new year, here are just a few things to consider. Would you say that you have an actual insurance strategy, one that you can articulate, or have you just purchased a policy here and there over the years? If you have an insurance strategy, was it discussed under the pressure of a renewal deadline or considered earlier in the year to avoid fire drill decision making? If your answer was no to either of these questions, then you may not have the right partner on your team. Visit alkaliservices.com to contact us and take the next step to a bigger and better future.
Hi, my name is Jeff Meisner. I am CEO of Sector 5. We build purposeful experiences for our clients, crew, and community. Not sure what the purpose was of this experience, but I hope to figure it out someday.
Welcome back to The Next Level, Conversations that Propel Business. We're here with our guest, James Hammel, and he has a couple of companies, JRHammel.com, which is the J.R. Hammel Company, and Vesta IQ, VESTAIQ.com. Is that all right? Since
That's great.
You were just too slow.
I'm brain still on vacation.
You're still in vacation mode. All right. So before the break, we were talking about your training program, James. And so 2 hours a week, you get all your people together in the office and everybody trains. I mean, at some point you're going over the same stuff over and over, aren't you? I mean, what are you training on that you haven't trained on before?
Well, you would think, right? No, the whole home building process is really a puzzle. It's a puzzle, and if you think about it as a puzzle, there's all these little parts and pieces. And I don't know about you guys, but have you ever done a puzzle? You get to the end, and a piece of the puzzle is missing. It's missing. I don't know about you, but it just doesn't feel like that puzzle is complete. It's like, where's that piece? And you're looking around, you're like,
right.
Well, what happened? You kind of feel there's just something missing.
Yeah.
That's how a homeowner feels when a piece of the puzzle that their contractor did for them, the contractor missed. And they missed it. And whether it was the scope change process or the way they communicated or the way they, they opened and closed the doors or, they let the dog out. There was just the project could be good as a whole, but they were missing a few parts and pieces. And if you really think about your business, you can list out all the parts and pieces of the client experience, what it truly takes to have a raving fan. And you would be amazed at how many actually parts and pieces there are to truly getting to that full puzzle. Honestly, there are endless topics and endless things when you really sit down and you ask the question, what can I do to innovate and what can we do to get better? And like the example you gave yesterday, the question was, what can we do as a group to get better quotes quicker, faster, and more accurate? Mm-hmm. You would think, well, just crack the whip and and show them who you are. No, the answer to that actually after that hour and a half was multiple things that we could get creative, gift cards, invite them and show them kind of the trades of what we do, incentivize them for after 24 hours getting those quotes. We're going to give you certain things. After 72 hours, you're not going to get this project. You won't even be invited to the next one. So there is multiple ways. So we're actually looking at that saying, okay, a vital part of our business is getting our trades, getting the numbers and getting them right. What can we do to get better? And I promise you, most people are not digging into that level. So that's just a piece of the puzzle. And if you can continually working on those pieces, you're going to find that raving fan is going to be more and more and more, and your percentages go up every time you perfect the piece of puzzle. And then in a year from now or 2 years from now, when your business is a little bit different, you can talk about that same subject, but you're at a completely different level. The same issues, there's going to be different issues, but the same subject. Okay, and so you'll never run out of ideas.
Right, and technology innovates. What we found, we have a process we call creative destruction, where we once a year go through and how do we make every piece of this faster, easier, cheaper, better for our clients, so we don't want to disrupt value. And then once we've improved our deliverables to them, then how do we make it easier, faster, easier, cheaper, better for us?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And you would think you couldn't go further, but you can. And one thing also you just said there triggered me, the mandatory reading in our office is Purple Cow, Seth Godin book.
There you go.
And it's about
Great.
creating, raving fans, because you just stand out because you're the purple cow when you're surrounded by a bunch of cows.
Absolutely.
I'm going to write that down.
Great reading. I mean, Carl Sewell's book, Customers for Life.
That's a great
ours
one
is
as well.
a staple for us.
Amen.
I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I mean, you've got to do it. You've got to innovate, or you're dying.
So Vesta IQ, did it come out of this process of constant innovation, or what? How did it come to be?
Yeah, I mean, it was brainstorm. It was really just as a result of, hey, enough people bring things to you, and you start to see a pattern over 18 years, and people bring me all the time. They bring these inspection reports and say, what do I do now? Realtors, and you look at these inspection reports, and it's the same thing over and over and over and over, and you'd have to be an idiot not to see a pattern, okay, and say, listen. And it wasn't really a business idea. It was really it came out of it was like, this is bleeding. I'm going to find a Band-Aid. And somebody says, well, will you just give me a list? And it was a good friend of mine, excellent realtor, still works today, came to me, and Wilson, his name's Will Seal, and he came to me and says, James, can you just provide a list of what I need to tell my clients that if they just do this list, that it would cover, most of their problems. I'm like, well, sure. Okay. So then I get the list, and no big deal. And then one day somebody comes to me and says, well, the list is great. Uh-huh. I agree with the list, but I don't want to do the list. Can you do it? I'm like, no, this list would cost $10,000, $20,000. I didn't. We were not set up. But that concept stuck with me. And as I was reading, and I was actually happened to be in a business seminar, and great decisions, breakthroughs are come to you in times where, you're in deep thought, you're with your coworkers. In this case, I was with other CEOs and happened to be in Las Vegas. And it's like, what? There's a need here. What can I do to create a business that can solve that need and do it more efficiently than anybody else can do it? And then it's like, okay. And
so is it basically maintaining homes?
It's a proactive. It's a list of items. I went through and I thought of everything I could possibly think of that I personally, and using my 18 years of experience, saying, if you don't do this, you are an idiot. Okay, you need to do certain things. I mean, it's just
so
like
give us some examples. What's on that list?
Let me give you an example in a car. Okay, you got to go change oil, right? And really, that only because people have told you. You really probably don't know anything about engines. You just know that people have told you if you don't change your oil, problems are going to arise. Well, it's the exact same thing in a home. If you don't keep the coating on the outside of your windows, paint. If you don't keep your windows painted on the outside and caulked, water's going to get into those windows. It's going to expand them. The water's going to get into the frame, and you're going to have rot and mold. It's a guarantee. In HVAC units, if you don't change your HVAC filters, you pretty much know that. Mm-hmm. You would be absolutely just stunned at how many other items fit in that same exact category. And that's just asset protection. When you actually think of the other three areas of comfort, there are certain things that just bug the crud out of a lot of people. When they're gone, they don't feel comfortable what's going on in their home. I've heard people say to me, listen, I can pay for anything. I can pay for anything, but I can't pay for the lives of my kids. Mm-hmm. And they're upset. I need to know that smoke detector is working. Pointing to it, yelling, and you feel the pain. You understand that there's a pain point there. So if I can solve that problem and make sure the home's comfortable and make sure when they're gone that they're comfortable at that house, okay, there's a need there. And obviously health in the home and safety. So we focus on those 4 core areas that I believe you take care of these issues, you take care of a lot of people's problems.
So let's flip the script a little bit. That's what's working. You guys are having a lot of success and a lot of momentum.
Very proactive. It's just a proactive way. It's not a coming in and give just a set price. Here's what it is, and I know we've done it too long. We know exactly what it's going to cost.
So let's talk breakdown. Possibly that's turned into a breakthrough while growing your business.
A breakdown is kind of that's I would say
gosh. Or it could be kind of like a failure that you were able to learn from and overcome. grow from?
Yeah, you know,
Can't think of anything. We'll cut this piece.
have it on here. Oh, it's a great one. We were just kind of talking about the wheel of life, and I wonder if you're going to get back to that.
Yeah.
7 years ago, I mean, I was a college-educated guy. I thought I had everything. I had a nice big house, boat, you know, had everything, and I also had a lot of debt.
Uh-huh.
And had a lot of things in my life and when I was introduced to the wheel of life, happened to be through a Tony Robbins event that didn't even know who Tony Robbins was. I just know that I wanted to go see New York City, and somebody gave me they paid for me to go, and I will always be in debt for that. I had no idea that there was an ulterior motive. They saw something in me that I didn't see, and they bought us tickets, and I just had to get there.
Nice.
And the only reason I went to New Jersey was to see New York City. I never seen New York City. What I didn't know is it would change my life going to an event like this. And this wheel of life, I recognized my wheel was really flat. I had some areas in my life that were just not good. And you know, and I just recognized that I needed to read. I kind of wore it as a badge of honor for the first 35 years of my life. I didn't need to read. I got 2 degrees. Never needed to read a book.
You got 2 degrees, never read a book?
Never read a book, I promise you. Okay? And until I was 35 years old, and I recognized how dumb that was, how ignorant that was. And that moment when we slept on the floor with my wife and I, $200,000+ in debt, no business. We were headed in the wrong direction. It was like literally somebody hit me over the head with a 2x4. And the time from then until now, understanding I've got to read. I've got to constantly get better. You know, and I have to listen to others. That was a real breakthrough for me. And I recognize now that, man, I know less now than I ever have, because I recognized how many people in this world are just unbelievable role models and know so much more about life than I do that it's almost scary.
You know, I like listening to the Tim Ferriss podcast, and one of the things he always does is, what books are you reading? He always asks his guests, what books are you reading?
That's right.
I'm
reading Traction right now. I'm reading again. I didn't understand it the first time. I'm reading Traction again. You know, it's you know, with Gino Wickman. You know, I don't know why I didn't get out of it what I wanted to do the first time, and some things kind of come up with, as you know, and so I'm rereading that again, and you know, that's what I'm reading right now.
And that's also available on Audible for the rest of us who like to read books. but
Well, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm on Audible as well. Yeah.
that's the way I read, you know, and especially the hard books, like, you know, some of the old time classics.
Oh, yeah.
You know, stuff from the 17th, 18th century. Got to do it Audible. I can't do it by reading.
That's right.
So what's next for you? We're sitting here 3 years from now. What would you like to see happen in your life, personally, professionally?
Yeah, I think I'll be in the same. I won't be in the same place. I hope that I've got the same spirit in recognizing that to be thankful for always what was given to me. I mean, and I truly mean that, to live in this country and to given the parents that I have, and to be given the wife that I have, and the kids that I have. Honestly, I don't see how it's possible for me to fail. I mean, truly, unless I just give up. I mean, and there's only one. So if 3 years from now I'm not thankful, I'm not understanding that, then you know, I've failed. And so yeah, we're going to continue to innovate. We're going to continue to get better, and I'm just going to continue to grow the people around me. Hopefully, I can continue to help them, because on my team is really that's what we're all about.
So
it's the only reason I'm anything.
One thing I wanted to ask you we missed was your ideal client. Who is your ideal client?
Yeah, ideal client is somebody that's remodeled before. And why? Because they know the pain.
What kind of price point? Is it based on the value of the job, the price of the house?
Not really.
Okay.
When I meet a client, I'm truly looking to the client I'm working with. Does this client understand the pain that is possible to remodel. And if they've done it before, there's a 93% chance that they know that paint, okay? And so that's our ideal client. Now, there's some geographical area restrictions for sure. There's restrictions between what we currently have on the books, because we can't overcommit. But and there is a certain level where it doesn't make any sense for us to do it, because we bring certain things with us that that if you're not you don't need design and you don't need permits, we're probably not the answer for you. And I will flat out tell you.
Yeah.
But ideal client, somebody's done something before.
Cool.
Well, thank you, James. Appreciate you being here today. And thank you to our audience. If you would like to get in touch with our guest, please visit JRHammel.com or VestaIQ.com. To connect with us, the show, nextlevelshow.com. Please like us on Facebook if you heard something or know someone who maybe needs that boost to inflate their wheel of life. Help spread the word for the show.
See you next week.
Have a great week.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.